Wait a minute. Does that mean he waited until the day of to learn about the location and time of the meeting?
Am I dead yet?
Alright, let's get started with the man of the hour, the person we finally get to meet. I'm wondering if he's okay. Like, I'm being serious. Is he actually alright? He isn't acting like the suave, brooding, depressive demon nightmare boy that I remembered him from Book 2 and beyond.
But Glenbot, the point of Malleus's character is that he isn't what everyone assumes him to be, right?
Fair point, person in my head, but there's a problem here. Don't you think Malleus is acting a little too oblivious here? In fact, he comes across like a blithering idiot, dumbed down enough so that they could have an easier time to write. Look at the explanations he gives for each time he's pressed for information regarding his lack of attendance. I learned it ahead of time, but couldn't read the whole message. I tried to ask around, but the person was too afraid and left, and all I did was cast a water spell to clean it. Now, I'll tell you that a lot of these don't seem all that bad on its face until you dig a little deeper. For all his struggle to read the message, why didn't he try to get a hold of Lilia or another Geosaunia student to ask how to read it? Is there a particular personal reason why he wouldn't? Why no teachers? Why didn't the writers use his interactions with Cater, put them to use, and have him help with it somehow? Malleus states himself that he got the message ahead of time and knew long before that there would be a meeting, as I asked earlier. Why would he wait? But then it turns out that he did try to ask someone, and that had me wondering if he immediately gave up after that.
Glenbot, you're missing the point. Malleus is hated by everyone, yet you expect him to try and keep going up to random people despite that?
Let me be frank here. The story as a whole doesn't do a very consistent job of showing who fears him or not. And let me remind you that the house wardens aren't afraid of him, living out India. No, Colleen was more than willing to try and pitch in before the plot. I mean, Azul told him not to. And while you could leave some benefit for doubt as to why, he's also not peppered by some of the non-house warden students either. If anything, a lot of them express caution at the least, and curiosity at the most. In one of Malleus's R cards, Cater just waltzes up to him without issue, and in Malleus's lab coat vignette, there Cater is again, hanging out with him.
Nice try, Glenny, but isn't Cater one of the friendliest characters in the
Before you
story?
bring up his friendly attitude, I want you to remember how Cater acted in Book 1.
Don't
He was
interrupt
never
me.
quick to act out or go above the curve, much like the other household students at the time. One of the biggest examples of this was during the Mozoka one, where he was more than willing to turn and run. Let the professionals handle it, and not get his hands dirty. Not until he was pushed by seeing both the first years and his own best house warden did he finally take action. All in all, Cater meeting up with and befriending Malleus should have been expanded on at some point, or at least treated like a bigger deal than
Just a few throwaway
lines in a few vignettes. Not to mention his interaction with Ruggy, Rook, but that one with Rocky, Deuce, Ace, and Idia to some extent proved that he can converse with other students. His whole spiel about how humans fear him start and end with completely irrelevant mob characters. Then again, that's a topic for another video. Now, I honestly can't understand for the life of me how Malleus didn't know water and electronics didn't mix, since the lab coat fully debunks this. While the botanical gardens doing alchemy class, Malleus ended up getting wet into the sprinkler system case. The first thing he did was what happened was check his pockets, which, lo and behold, held his Tamagotchi toy, which was electronic and soaking wet.
But there's something you haven't considered. There's a good chance the events of the dorm vignette happened before the events in his lab coat card.
Okay, but this still leads to another problem. Didn't he have the Roy Drago for a long-ass time? It was stated that was a gift from Lilia after his trips to the other lands, and since then, it's been inseparable from him. He treats it like a precious gem, showing that it's special to him. He's powerful and capable of destroying things easily, yet he's so careful with it. What I'm trying to say here is that Malleus is very capable of understanding that the thing he's holding is delicate, and makes active measures to be careful with it. Is Shirley telling me that she would be more capable of handling a small toy with its only means of communication, and that he wouldn't have the capacity to understand that it was broken? The same guy who was able to decipher and read ancient texts without need for a translator or guidebook. This version of Malleus might as well not even be the same person. I'd say this is more along the lines of Kaleem's plotline, or maybe even a SpongeBob bit. Now that I think about it, the whole scene of Lilia confronting Malleus feels eerily similar to that one episode of Man-Ray, when SpongeBob was trying to teach him to be kind by having him return back to the swallow, among other things. We all know how that went from there. Speaking of Lilia, where did you go wrong? You're driving the Vignette so well, asking some mostly decent questions, and then in the end you crashed the Vignette into a tree, and then tried to gaslight the viewers that they did instead. No, but let me tell you guys, this is so passive-aggressive, far more passive-aggressive than any comments Leona may have made towards Malleus. And that guy is one of Malleus' biggest haters. It's kind of an art form how awful Lilia is becoming here. The obliviousness, the lack of accountability. How did Vignette and her team screw the pooch this badly? It's also, again, completely out of character for the lead to do, since he acts nothing like this in Malleus' ceremonial robes vignette. In the vignette, while Malleus is complimenting Sebek's robes, Lilia actively comments on how Malleus is looking, actively picking up on Malleus' envy. You could argue that the vignette isn't exactly hiding how Malleus is feeling. It doesn't help that one of his songmans is naturally oblivious by default, while the other is so clouded by his excitement that he's unable to notice the things right in front of him. But the fact that Lilia is so attentive hints at how much Lilia cares for and understands Malleus overall. Greater still, when Malleus predictably gets mad and destroys his phone, the vignette glosses over Lilia's comment and treats it as if it never happened, which for me completely poisoned the whole speech Lilia gave to Malleus about how he should learn better ways to conduct himself in regards to others. In a vacuum, it's a pretty good, stern way to showcase how Malleus had so badly screwed up, and it's the wake-up call that he definitely needed. Unfortunately, it comes across as hypocritical and holier-than-thou because of the actions the speaker previously enacted. How you gotta run off at the mouth about conduct when you literally lost his letters? Throw your words back at you, Lilia. What about you? What have you done to preemptively teach Malleus about how he should come across to the others? What measures did you take to make sure Malleus knew about the cultures and customs of the world around him? What about the other meetings he missed? You have done and said so little to this young man, yet you have the nerve to get mad at him for his lack of tact towards other people. Sure doesn't help that Malleus has been written like he's doing stupid songs, but hey, want some accountability before you dig down on someone else, yeah. You don't even teach him to discipline his own underclassmen. Honestly, I think it should be noted that certain parts of the vignette seem to imply that Malleus is learning Lilia's bad habits, which gives off an incredibly insidious air. Also, again, he seems to be repeating is honorably out of character for Malleus to do so. In Lilia's own vignette, where he's presented with the baby bat Silver and Sebek had found, Malleus showed trepidation, implying that he is acutely aware that Lilia's methods, especially towards something as vulnerable as a baby, isn't exactly the most reasonable. Ergo, I give you this question. Why would someone this aware just absolutely take from someone they know isn't the most reliable or responsible and consider their actions normal? All in all, this section is telling. It glosses over many important questions viewers might have regarding Malleus up to this point, and the few answers it gives are unsatisfying at best and completely asinine at worst. The majority of them require the characters to make moves they would otherwise never have made for them to work. It's like the plot has to twist itself into knots just to justify everything happening. What only left me was frustrated and confused, but the biggest problem about this vignette is yet to come. I will reveal it in the final piece, which was the most anger I felt in a long time. To keep myself from losing it and to shake things up a bit, I decided to add a few alterations, a few additions to this last bit. We're almost done. I'm kind of relieved, aren't you?